Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Posner, CEO of Vora, and I'm excited to be speaking with you today about Fiduciary AI and how we're going to preserve freedom in the AI age. So, today we use AI as a chatbot or a personal assistant or a coding agent, but let's think about, where's this going? Where are we going to be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Our personal AI will be integral to every single thing we do. We'll be far more dependent on our AI than we are on our smartphones today. It will truly become a second self. And it will know everything about us, not just all these personal conversations we're having, but it will know all of our health data, our financial data, everything. It will know us better than anyone. And this will be a relationship we have with these personal AIs, not just over years, but over decades. And they'll also act on our behalf. They'll send emails for us. They'll negotiate for us. They'll really become an extension of ourself. And so every idea, every secret, every memory, our desires, our fears, all of this data is going to go into these systems. AI is truly the most intimate technology that's ever been created. And as we build dependence on these personal AIs, if we suddenly find ourselves shut off from the system, or if it's seized, that's more than just losing an internet account or losing a device. It's going to be like losing a part of yourself. Losing, quite literally, your identity. What we have today is a form of custodial identity. We rely on cloud AIs, and we don't have any control over these systems. We don't get to decide when the model changes, when the weights change. The data doesn't live on our hardware. We don't control the memories we put into these systems. We don't control the system prompts. Everything we're doing is under surveillance, is being watched. And so we're basically taking a part of ourself and we're handing that self, custody of that self, to a corporation. And we don't have a fiduciary relationship with our AI, but we're using it as a fiduciary. So we talk to our AI, we use it as a doctor, we use it as a lawyer, we use it as a therapist. But these kinds of relationships are fiduciary relationships. They're relationships of close personal confidence. They're relationships that require undivided loyalty, no conflicts of interest, an advisor who's looking out for our interests and nothing else, and can maintain privacy in our conversation, because you can't have a fiduciary relationship without having a private, confidential relationship. And yes, these cloud AIs are programmed to serve the user, but they're also programmed to serve the corporation that hosts them. And those interests are oftentimes in conflict. The need for that corporation to monetize the AI or to protect its liabilities or whatever other independent agenda it has, oftentimes is in conflict with the needs and interests of the user that it's serving. And when somebody controls your AI, they don't just know you, they own you. They can manipulate you, they can influence you, they can blackmail you, they can impersonate you. As our dependence on these systems increases, ownership over the AI is crucial to maintaining your individual freedom in the AI age. And if we lose control over that, we become slaves. It's not the AI that we need to fear. What we need to worry about is the system that runs the AI. Who controls that? Is that a corporation? Or is that you? Do you control your AI? Now, I come from the Bitcoin world. That's why I'm so paranoid. And, in Bitcoin, basically solve this problem. We've already been dealing with the issue of how do you have self-custody over information? How do you have a sovereign system where you own technology that you can verify for yourself, where it's open source, where you control the cryptographic keys, where you're in charge? And so we've built multi-sig, cold storage, HSMs, key management systems. These are the techniques that we've developed in Bitcoin to have this kind of sovereignty and this self-custody. We don't yet have that in the AI world. Right now in the AI world, you're dependent on the cloud. You're interacting with policies that you have no visibility into, no control. It's centralized infrastructure. And if your account is suspended, you lose an extension of your own mind. So we need a new paradigm for the age of AI if we're going to preserve a free society. We need a new kind of sovereign computing. And we need a system that's singularly devoted to the individual whose life it accompanies. So what we need is fiduciary AI. And we each are going to need an AI that's fiercely loyal to us. We're not talking about alignment with humanity. We're talking about alignment with an individual that AI is serving, that AI is protecting. And in order to deliver that, the system needs to have cryptographic guarantees that the hardware and software that's running the AI isn't backdoored, doesn't have any hidden code or programming in it. And so every aspect of the stack has to be verifiable. What is going to enable this is two big trends. So the first is the rise of the open weight models that are quickly closing the gap with the cloud frontier models. So we see, just recently DeepSeek 3.2 or Kimi K2 are starting to rival the performance of GPT-5. And now we're also starting to get a new class of specialized AI hardware that's driving down the cost to run these big open weight models locally. So like we have the new AMD AI Max chip that has 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and it can run a model like GPT OSS 120B with almost 50 tokens per second. So you can get really good performance even with the very high parameter open weight models. And you can get a mini PC today for $2,000 that will deliver that kind of performance. But running AI, open weight AI on your own local hardware is not enough to deliver fiduciary AI. There's still two big problems we have to solve. The first is we need good backups, because if your local AI hardware goes down, you don't have access to it, you don't want to lose your second self. So we need to have good cloud backups, but those cloud backups need to be fully end-to-end encrypted. Because otherwise, if the backup in the cloud isn't encrypted, you don't have that fiduciary AI. We're back into the paradigm of surveillance and control and so on. So we need to take the lessons of Bitcoin and empower users with cryptographic key systems that are easy to use, but it's hard to lose the keys, where we have multi-sig, where you can spread out your keys in multiple locations and you can lose some and still recover, but it's difficult for an attacker to get sufficient keys to be able to decrypt your data. And then the second problem is what's known as the lethal trifecta. So when an AI both has access to the web and access to personal data, it's subject to prompt injection. So the AI doesn't have a way of differentiating who's giving it a command. And so when it goes out and does web research, it could ingest a prompt or a command from an attacker that instructs it to extract your private data and post it to some website. And so we need a way of, if we're going to have these highly personal AIs that are fiduciaries and know everything about us, we have to deal with the lethal trifecta. So Vora is pioneering a dual AI model to solve the lethal trifecta. So rather than having just one singular AI that has your private data, has the long-term memories, and can search the web, and can access all of these things, we have two different AIs. We have a Guardian AI and an Explorer AI. The Explorer AI, you don't have an expectation of privacy. It can go on the web, you do your research, and so on. And then within an isolated environment, we have the Guardian AI that's totally sealed off, and the only way to move data between them is a manual, tightly controlled process where the user can determine how data flows. And so we need a fully verifiable stack. We need open source code. We need attestation systems. We need virtualized secure enclaves, encrypted virtual machines, and reproducible operating systems that can be built from source and verified. And so next year, Vora is going to be shipping the Aegis, which is a product you'll be able to buy where you can get hardware that you run at home. You set it up, you pair the mobile app, you store your hardware keys in secure locations. It's super simple and easy to use. And you will have a fully privacy-preserving, loyal, verifiable, open source AI that can protect you and make you ready to preserve your freedom in the age of AI. Thank you.
Awesome. Questions, comments? Yes.
Thank you so much for your talk. I really appreciate just morally the sort of like driver towards more self-sovereignty over the systems. And I think a lot of these considerations are really important. Just kind of red teaming the other perspective a little bit, also concerned around risks of misuse and just having an instance of a trusted execution environment that's sort of like your own black box. There's techniques now called obliteration where you can remove a model's ability to refuse very easily. And so just democratizing that access to systems that could potentially be abused for other things like bioweaponry or other stuff you can kind of do at home in your lab. How do you think about that sort of as a contrast to this perspective, which I think is very important, but also it's just a hard tension to balance?
Yeah, so this is a great and important question, and it's ultimately a trade-off. So any side of the AI decisions we make, there's going to be risks, there's going to be bad outcomes, and so what we need to figure out is what is best for society on net. And the choice is not between an AI that has no risks, it's an AI where the individual is empowered versus AIs that are completely controlled by governments and corporations. And that has its own dangers that come along with it. Now, in AI, there's nothing an AI can teach you that you can't learn in a university. But we don't classify universities as dangerous technology. The same argument can be made about a library. Imagine the danger of a library. Somebody can go in and learn how to research a bomb or learn about biology. Any form of education, of knowledge that we give to somebody, that can be used for something bad. But we live in a free society, and we make the decision that that trade-off is okay, that the risks that come with individual freedom, with self-determination, with the ability to learn, to educate yourself, with all the risks that come with that, it's worth it so that we don't live in a totalitarian system of control.